Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Joe and Joe Weather Show on this Thursday night, the 6th of May. And the Joe and Joe Weather Show is brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware, the capital of mulch. If you need mulch, head over to 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York, in southwest Suffolk County on Long Island. Omni serves the entire tri-state area, and they have everything you need to make your yard the best looking yard in your neighborhood. And they make the mulch there so they never run out. And they also have the best prices in town. They beat the big box stores. So just bear that in mind. Get your truck over there and load it up. OmniTrueValue.com is the website. Also brought to you by Wholesale Holiday Lighting by Giannini, your complete holiday lighting specialist, meeting all your decorating needs. And they're right near Omni. They're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst on Long Island in southwest Suffolk County. And the telephone number is 631-957-5106. Whether you want your house decorated or maybe you want to do this as a business, come holiday time, give them a call. And the website is liholidaylighting.com, so you can see their complete catalog. Okay, here we are. Shocking day today, Joe. Shocking. The sun was out pretty much all day long in most places. I don't know how you can stand it. Joseph. Oh, this is odd. He's frozen for some reason. Hang on a second. This is weird. It's getting weird here. What happened? All right, hold on a second. I'm having an issue. God, of all times. Round and round the circle of death goes. Joe, I don't know if you can hear me, but I'm having some kind of an issue over here. All of a sudden, my computer decided to go a little crazy with the circle of death. All right, let's see if that repaired it. And let's try this. Joe, are you there? All right, folks, I don't know what's going on here. This is just really weird. Maybe the issues are on his end, but even on my end, some weird stuff was happening. All right. Great shot of him, though. Okay, so apparently this is a Zoom issue all of a sudden. All right, so hang on. Let me see if I can get Mr. Rayo back. In the meantime, I hope everybody had a terrific day because you did have sunshine all day long. Let me see if this is going to work. So hang in there, folks. Zoom decided to crash here all of a sudden. I don't know why. This is just so strange. So I have to give Joe his Zoom link. This is all stuff that we usually do before the show starts. So the Zoom link is coming, but this was a Zoom issue. Okay, so let's copy that. Let's rescue Joe Rayo here. Hold on a second. Whoops. I didn't want to do that. Okay. All right, you got your Zoom link, Mr. Rayo, so let's see what we can do with it. So everybody, I appreciate everyone's patience here, but this was a Zoom issue. I don't know why it did that. It's never done that before. So we'll get Mr. Rayo on here momentarily. Isn't technology just a wonderful thing? I know just one of Joe's favorite lines, technology, Joe, technology. And I'm sure that that's what he's going to say here now that he should be popping in momentarily. Thanks, Dennis. I sent the link. Okay. Patience, everybody. I know this is really, this is weird. This is just so weird. Okay, JJ's fine. Where is he? He was here a minute ago. He goes, sometimes he goes behind my bed. I don't know. He likes it there. It's kind of enclosed. But he comes in when we do the show. He comes in and just snoozes. Okay, hold on. It's asking him for a password. This is so weird. He's not supposed to need one, but just a moment. Uh, okay. Hang on a second, folks. I think that's the password. So let's make sure. Up to 2 6. I'm here. I didn't go away. Just trying to get this figured out here. Now I'm back. So let's see if Joe gets in here. Yay! Hi.
Hello.
Hi. You are not a professional actor. You are a real person.
I told you before we went on that you were frozen next to your door, and I was able to see the adjacent room in your home.
Yeah, no, I don't know what I have no idea because on my end we were both fine, and then as soon as I started the show and it was fine, and you came up fine, and then I think Zoom it must have been a Zoom issue because it just shut down on my end. I don't know. Just look, we're here. Okay, problem solved. So the last thing I said to you,
Technology, Joe. Technology, Joe. Technology.
I predicted that. Did I not predict that, folks? I predicted that. Okay. So the last thing I said was, I don't know how you managed it today, dealing with all that sunshine. I don't know how anybody managed it today.
Well, it was
it's been so
lovely.
doom and gloom.
It was a brief crack or brief opening in the gloom. Blue skies, bright sun, but high clouds began coming in around 4 o'clock. They began to lower and thicken around 5. And right now it's pretty well overcast. Although I think we're going to actually have a bit of partial clearing later tonight. But thank God at least it didn't rain. Thank God we had some sun.
Yes.
And thank goodness we've had a break in the gloom.
Now, Hank, can you guys? This is really turning into a comedy tonight. Hang on a second.
Are you tending to JJ? Is that what's going on?
No, I just pulled a tick off my leg.
Oh, lovely.
And I'm trying to stomp on it. Die already, die. Okay, there it goes. It was a real small one, so everything I did, it just kept like getting into a sweet spot in between the things on the bottom of my sneakers. Yeah, I pulled a rather nice large tick off the dog this morning. That was not fun.
Lovely.
Is that out of control China? Paul Roman wants to know what's the deal with the out of control China rocket.
I have no clue. I mean, I have a website that I'm watching, but while it gives you the estimate or guesstimate as to when it's going to re-enter the atmosphere, it says plus or minus like 21 hours, which means more or less it's a useless prediction because it could either happen virtually a day earlier or a day later. who the heck knows? You know, you know what I'm visualizing, Joe, is that one Wile E. Coyote episode where he sees something coming down on him and he opens up a little tiny parasol umbrella and holds it above his head with this look of doom, so I really don't know. The interesting thing is that at the top part of if you plot this on a Mercator map, the orbits look like sine curves, and at the very top of the curve is where latitude 41.5 is where pretty much where I am, just north of New York City. So if this thing decides to enter the Earth's atmosphere at the top part of its orbit at just the right time frame, well, this may be the last Joe and Joe show for a while.
Right. All right, so might as well get rolling with everything all the technical issues tonight. Let's roll on to we'll start with tonight's satellite loop. And I have to tell you, I had a gorgeous day here. Didn't get out of the 60s. Lots of blue sky, sunshine, a pretty decent breeze that blew around all day. And looking at some high clouds that are rolling through eastern PA to southern New England now. They're kind of running well ahead. And you see the two upper troughs. Actually, there's three systems here in play. The one, the clouds that are off the southeast coast, and that's going to form some kind of coastal low during the day tomorrow. Then you have this energy that's dropping down through the central Great Lakes, and that's actually producing some severe weather tonight across earlier today in the middle Mississippi Valley, now in the Ohio Valley, and even down as far south as northern Alabama with the radar echoes. And also, you're seeing another swirl that's up in Minnesota and in the Western Lakes. That's another short wave that's swinging down. So we've got a lot of systems running. We're kind of in between all this stuff. So it's thankfully, we're not seeing, say, the Great Lakes, the Central Lakes shortwave impacting the system that's going to be off the southeast coast. That's what the GFS was trying to do, that coastal storm back days and days ago. All these systems
right.
All these systems are staying separate. So that actually helps us out at some point, during some points on Friday and on Saturday as well. But it doesn't completely get rid of the possibility that there could be some scattered showers around for not so much tomorrow. It looks like it's going to be dry during the day, except in eastern Pennsylvania. But on Saturday, there's probably going to be some spotty showers here and there.
And it's amazing that less than a week ago, if you had asked me of the upcoming Mother's Day weekend, which of the 2 days looks to be the better of the two weather-wise, I would have told you Saturday, because I thought that a week ago, at least that's what the models were suggesting, that quite possibly we could have some showery weather for a good part of Sunday, or at least from midday and afternoon into the evening hours on Sunday. Now it looks like Saturday is going to be the wet day, and Sunday, for the most part, save for maybe later on in the day or evening, for the most part, looks like a dry day, a nice day to take mom out to brunch, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to do it out of doors.
Yes. The Western Plains, the Rockies, beautiful day today. If you look closely on the GOES, you actually can still see the snow cover on in the mountains in Colorado, and also in parts of northwestern Wyoming and into Montana. Then, of course, you have those clouds coming into the Pacific Northwest. There's no major systems here. These are all just sort of minor nuisances that are rolling around. But they are, of course, triggering off some severe weather, and we're using Tornado HQ. The UCAR radar site is still having some data issues that began yesterday, so I don't have a wide U.S. view, so we'll have to just kind of do it with this. And at the moment, Joe, there are in Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. Actually, more so Mississippi, Alabama, and Tennessee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 working severe thunderstorm warnings at the moment. There are a grand total of 13 severe weather warnings that are up. That is one area of severe weather that we're dealing with tonight. There's also some stronger storms. There were a couple of severe thunderstorms with that second line that you go to the northwest of this one, up further north into Kentucky and back into Missouri. So it looks like there's some storms down between moving into Paducah. They were near Cape Girardeau on the Missouri side earlier. That there were a couple of severe warnings in that mess. And down in Florida, we have some special marine warnings up south of Fort Pierce, down to Boca Raton and Miami, and points southward. One, two, three, four special marine warnings up for thunderstorms that at the moment they're offshore. There's still some stuff going on land, but most of the heavy activity is offshore. There's some scattered storms further north between Melbourne and Merritt Island. Also on the west coast, we have some scattered cells east to the east of St. Petersburg, but most of the action is in the southeast coast of Florida, and that's where our severe weather issues are tonight, Mr. Rayo.
Okay, well, it appears that for the next couple of tomorrow it looks like we're still going to be outside of the possibility of convection according to the Storm Prediction Center. Although by Saturday, among those widely scattered showers that we may be dealing with, maybe one or two will be accompanied by a flash of lightning and maybe a rumble or two of thunder, because the zone of general thunderstorm coverage appears just about to reach the New York metropolitan area and points south and west, points north and east, like up across the Hudson Valley and into New England, outside of the zone of convection. But that's probably because it's going to be a rather cool and rather dreary day, it looks like, for the most part, in much of the Northeast on Saturday.
Storm Prediction Center had an update on the fly today because they started out with just some marginal risk, and then they had to go to a slight risk in western Tennessee, western Kentucky, southern Illinois, southeastern Missouri, northeastern Arkansas. And they also added a slight risk along the east coast of Florida, but they have it at the central part of the coast, whereas the bigger storms right now are actually in the marginal risk further south. But that happens sometimes. And the storm,
yes, it does.
Yes, the Storm Prediction Center for tomorrow, Friday into Saturday morning, has a small area of marginal risk in eastern North Carolina, as Quincy McCoy was mentioning with that developing coastal low. There might be some thunderstorms and maybe some severe weather for eastern North Carolina. And then also we have marginal risk from West Texas, around El Paso, for example, through eastern New Mexico, northwest Texas, eastern Colorado, western Kansas, western Oklahoma, and then kind of moving, just sort of narrowing out in southeast Wyoming. Also a small area of marginal risk indicated in southwestern Montana. So that's day two. Day three is Saturday into Sunday. Where they have a slight risk in eastern Kansas, northeast Oklahoma, and a small portion of western Missouri. You can see the marginal risk area that surrounds that. They put up an area of general thunderstorms, Joe, from New York City south and west. So basically between New York City on the just west of Albany on the northern flank, to Washington, D.C., back to Pittsburgh on the southern flank on their day three outlook. And on days 4 through 8, as we take a look at this, on the day 4, I think they had a risk in here somewhere. Oh, no, my mistake. Predictability too low on day 4, predictability too low on day 5, to 6, 7, and 8. So not completely ruling it out, but they don't have enough. They don't have enough confidence in the guidance to put in anything at the moment. And as far as rain is
concerned, who does?
Yes, I know it's been just really a struggle. Another reason why not to like spring. The models are terrible.
Yes, and if anybody out there has been watching, your local television forecasts, 2 stations in the New York market still insist upon a 10-day outlook And if I had those 10-day outlooks printed on paper, well, Joe, I would give that paper to you because maybe you might be able to use it with JJ.
Yeah, well,
You know,
I hear you.
line the kitchen floor.
I
Yeah.
totally hear you. Rainfall amounts of a half to 3/4 of an inch being indicated here over the next 7 days. So I think the bulk of this probably comes later Sunday into Monday. And you can see some heavier precip, an inch and a half or more across the Ohio Valley and points south. You get down across the Gulf states from Texas to western Georgia, and you've got 3 inch plus amounts being indicated in some areas, and certainly a large area of an inch and a half plus. Also, an inch and a half plus for the coastal Carolinas. Probably a lot of that's going to be with that system for tomorrow. Still showing some heavy precip in the eastern half of Colorado, and some of that's going to wind up being snow. And also further northwest up into Montana and western North Dakota, and extending northward up into Canada, you're seeing half an inch to an inch precip amounts being generated there. So, on that note, I just thought maybe I'd bring up the surface map here and take a look at what's happening. You don't have anything, whenever you deal with these weak weather systems, it just always becomes problematic in trying to really nail down a forecast because when they're weak, so many little things can go wrong. And you've got a stalled frontal boundary over northern Florida and off the southeast coast. You have the central lakes shortwave producing a low on the central border of Indiana and Illinois. And then you have another weather front, a cold front, in moving now into western Minnesota. So, there's no dominating feature here as far as any of these weather systems go.
Yeah, you kind of start looking at this time now. We're into the early part of May, and you start looking at least on the long range, trying to see if there's any signal that we might see a ridge beginning to pop up, or a heat ridge, if you will. I remember about this time last year, we were seeing that over parts of the Northeast. You may remember we had places to the north like Montreal and Caribou, places up in Maine that were in the 90s, whereas we were still in the 70s and 80s. Haven't seen anything like that,
No, that and
and
that
there's still
was
no
that was
sign of.
that was much later in the month because we're coming into that last year when we had the record low tide at 36 for New York City and snow on May 9th. So that's kind of where we're going into a year ago. But no, you're right though. When we got into June, we saw that big heat that heat ridge up to the north in Canada, and we were cooler.
Yeah, and still no sign or signal that anybody is going to be going into a prolonged or protracted spell of not unsettled weather, but unseasonably mild or warm weather. Here in the east, the CPC continues to show most areas east of the Mississippi at or below normal temperatures probability for the next 1 to 2 weeks. So if you're waiting for a nice warm up, a nice warming trend, doesn't look like it's going to be happening anytime soon.
All right, so let's run through. I got the latest GFS. This is another frustrating thing. After a number of runs showing something sliding out south of Long Island, then this morning the models started taking a low up into upstate New York, and now, of course, it's gone back in the other direction on this particular run, and that has implications for later Sunday into Monday. Whether it's just going to be a warm front moving up with some showers if a low goes by to your north, or if you've got something sliding underneath you, then you're talking about raw doom and gloom from Sunday afternoon into Monday afternoon. If that's the case, we'll still have to see how this
Yeah.
all gets resolved. But you can watch for tomorrow. Not really much happens here. The upper trough to the west generates those showers in western New York down to Pennsylvania, Virginia. There's your low near Wilmington, North Carolina tomorrow afternoon at about 2 o'clock, which is why SBC is doing what they're doing with the severe weather issues. The showers get to about the New Jersey state line, and then they just sit there. So if you're east of there and into, say, southern New England, Long Island, and points east, you're not going to have any rain at all until maybe Saturday morning. when everything starts to pivot eastward. But I don't know, Joe. It's kind of hard. Somebody could wind up with some heavy rain, though. There might be some patches of convection and heavy rain Friday evening in that narrow band that sets up to our west. But it's not going to be a widespread rainfall by no means. And then you've got these scattered showers around for Saturday.
Right, and that's probably the reason why SPC has placed New York and points south and west in the possibility of general thunderstorm activity. Now we'll see whether or not tomorrow somebody over at SPC decides to maybe slip a little zone of marginal in there for possible severe weather. And yeah, we'll see how this all pans out. But I think that uh, the system that's coming our way for late Sunday and Sunday night also bears watching. You bring up a very good point. Will we be, for example, to the north of the warm front or the warm sector, in which case it's going to turn out to be, as you pointed out, just gloom and doom, just clouds and continuous rain, drizzle, and fog and weather, or whether or not we can somehow push that front north of us, in which case then we would perhaps be looking Sunday night or early Monday at the possibility of some significant convection.
Right,
So
and
everything is right
yeah,
on the line.
and the new G and the 12Z run, just to show you the difference. So first off, the new 18Z run has rain to New York City now by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, with heavy rain across Pennsylvania. So it's been going back and forth with this idea because of how it's tracking the surface low. And I'm kind of thinking, since we have a negative NAO, this solution to me looks a little more viable than what the 12Z solution was, which to basically take a low well up into upstate New York, push the warm front all the way up almost into northern New England, which I thought was really strange. This one is it, this run it makes this run matches the pattern we're in a lot better than what the earlier day run did, and also the goes along with what the European has, by the way. But this has rain by 1 in the afternoon, and the warm front never gets through. The lows in central Pennsylvania at 1 a.m. At 2 a.m. on Monday, and then it kind of slides out to the east, and eventually you push the cold front on through, and weather conditions maybe could start to improve during the day on Monday. Uh, and either way, we're going to wind up with some rain on Sunday. It's just a question of, does it get here around midday, or does it hold off until late afternoon? Again, it all depends on your location, because if you're watching from Ohio, for example, it's already raining at 2 a.m. Sunday morning, and it's pouring rain during Sunday morning into early afternoon, with the low in western Pennsylvania by Sunday evening. And then, of course, you also see that convection. There's convection down in parts of Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas. There probably will be some severe weather there, with the front sliding south and east. And then going into next week, I don't know. I'm not particularly. There's nothing much here that is rocking excitement. That's bringing excitement to me. It does look cool and dry through, uh, well, at least into Thursday, before the next low runs up to the Great Lakes with some rain at the end of next week. So we may actually squeeze out two 2 days, and possibly parts of two others, to with some decent weather, although it looks to be on the cool side.
Yeah, high pressure looks like it's going to be fairly significant when we get to Tuesday, building in behind that storm, which, Joe, it looks to me like that storm could very well pass almost directly over the tri-state area, which doesn't do us any good. I mean, that pretty much spells out really dreary, cloudy, dank conditions for later Sunday through Sunday night and into early Monday before we see any kind of an improvement. A fairly sizable ridge of high pressure building in, maybe a bit breezy on Tuesday of next week. Then Wednesday, the high kind of stretches out. The winds will begin to abate, but we'll still have sunshine. And then maybe we'll be able to squeeze out one more reasonably nice day for Thursday. So you're right. We might be looking at a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday trifecta of dry, clear weather before the next round of showery or unsettled weather arrives just in time for the end of the week and the start of not this weekend, but the following weekend. And I might add also for all of you horse fans out there, horse racing fans, a week from Saturday is the Preakness. So unlike the nice weather we had for the Kentucky Derby, if what we're looking at long range does hold true, we might be looking at Mudder's Day at Pimlico
Oh,
on a week from Saturday.
in the meantime,
Maybe.
maybe. In the meantime, just want to focus your attention in the Rockies because a low on Saturday that's dropping southeastward. That's the low for us on Sunday in the east. It does produce some snow from the Dakotas back into Montana. And then as a trough drops down into the west, we've got snow there scattered in parts of Wyoming and Idaho Sunday evening. But then it goes it kind of goes a little crazy with some snow in Colorado again, including Denver, during the day on Monday. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And then, of course, that eventually gets kicked out to the east, and that's for the low that goes to the toward the Great Lakes at the end of next week. But in the meantime, we've got this blocky pattern, and the Canadian, the northern part of that jet stream, is still pretty active. And as long as it is, it's going to continue to bring down these, cooler shots of air. Uh, they're not particularly cold, but they're certainly cool enough, relatively speaking, particularly cold, but they certainly are cool enough that we're seeing these troughs in the east, and that temperatures are going to, as you said, with CPC, keeping things below average temperature-wise. The jet, Joe, if you look at the jet stream pattern from Sunday right into next week, it's still suppressed pretty far to the south. And, you've got this blockiness up in the North Atlantic that's just kind of keeping things in check. And it's keeping a big ridge or any kind of ridge, from building along the East Coast. So we got to get that we got to get that NAO, the negative NAO has to go away. And I'm just not seeing it. In fact, I'm just kind of looking here, even in the longer range, you go past day 9, day 10, the high over Greenland actually strengthens over time. So we may stay cool at least through mid-month if this is correct.
And I have to hand it to the folks over at the Weather Prediction Center down in Washington. They're still hanging in there with their snowfall forecast, Joe. Usually by this time in early to mid-May, they say, okay, we're shutting down now. Next winter forecast will come, well, what is it, September or October or whatever. But it looks like that by the time we get to the end of this weekend or early next week, that there may still be some significant snowfall for parts of the Cascades in Washington, for parts of northern Idaho, western sections of Montana, portions of northern Wyoming. So, as Yogi said, it ain't over till it's over, and it doesn't look like it's over just yet. If you live out in the plains of the northern Rockies, or even out in parts of the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I just pulled up the probability for at least 2, which takes us through Sunday evening. And in the western half of Montana, northwestern Wyoming, into north central Idaho, and as you said, also in the Cascades, a fairly high probability of 50%, I'm sorry, 70% or higher of at least 2. And let me go to their long range. Let's go to the because that'll take us into Monday and Tuesday. So I'll be curious if they have, and they do actually have something here. So let's see. So this is the probability of at least. Oh no, this is the current one. Wrong one. I'm sorry. You got to go to where's day 4 through 8. Oh, here we go. Well, they're not showing anything on the day 4. Oh, they got a few little patches. Okay, so I'll just bring it up real quick. They just have a few little patches, but I imagine that this is going to be a little bit more than just what they're showing here based on what the guidance has. But west of Denver, they got an area there in the higher tops west of Denver of a 10 to 30% chance of at least, let's call it 3. and also up into northwestern Wyoming. I got the name of that mountain range. I can't. The hold on, I got to get closer. The Absaroka, is that what that says? The Absaroka Range. I didn't even know there was such a thing as an Absaroka Range. I don't know. And in Colorado, now I'm where am I? This is the Bighorn Range. Well, these maps are terrible. It's like I go to put the green, try to get the green off so I can read this, uh, and then see exactly where I'm looking at state-wise. The Bighorn Mountains. Have you heard of the Bighorn Mountains?
Vaguely, they sound vaguely familiar.
Yeah, they're in
But
Wyoming. It looks like they're in Wyoming, and so is the Absaroka Range. It's near the Teton National Forest. Now that I've heard of. It's not that far from Jackson Hole. Have you been to Jackson Hole,
okay,
Wyoming?
I was considering it a few years ago because the great eclipse of 2017 passed right over Jackson Hole, but I never made it out that far. I'd love to go out there. I've been to places like Bryce Canyon National Park in Utah, and I've been to Big Sky Country, Montana, which I'd go in a heartbeat if I had the time and the money to do that. But no, I have not been to. I've not been to Jackson Hole.
Okay. All right. Let's do some. The chairman sent you tonight's Briller Jeopardy, so I guess I have to guess the new top 10 list.
Yes, and I will get that for you in just a matter of moments. So please stand by.
In the meantime, we got 40 likes on tonight's video. I want to just apologize again for the technical issues that decided to develop once the show started. Appreciated everybody's patience because I know it took us a little while to get through that. And 40 likes so far. Not even 100 is too much to ask for, but let's see if we can get the number up to 50. That would be terrific. So
everybody's waiting, Joe, for the first tropical cyclone. Then we'll start rolling again, so to speak. But tonight's Briller Jeopardy for Mr. Chiaffi is another NOAA top 10 list. But first, a bonus question for Joe. If he gets correct, one extra strike. You ready for this?
Okay.
What was Central Park's warmest nighttime temperature ever? And within 2 degrees, Price is Right rules for credit. Highest overnight low at Central Park.
I'm trying to think. It used to be 84, and then I think there was one where it was 86. So I'll split the difference and say 85.
Okay, well, you came within 1 degree. You were right initially. 84.
84.
Last set in 2011.
Okay.
So
yeah, I wasn't sure if it was
lovely...
if it was I remember the 84 actually happened a few times, but I was for some reason sticking in my head that there might have been one that was 86. But okay, that's great, 84. So now I have 4 strikes.
I mean, I could remember on more than a few occasions when I was much younger, watching the 11 o'clock news either with Joe Whitty, Alan Casper, Tex Antoine. The 11 p.m. temperature, 90 degrees.
Oh yeah.
It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen often, but when you're at 90 at 11 p.m., you should not expect the temperature to go very far down for the rest of the night.
No, not at all. Not at all.
All right. According to NOAA, these 10 states average the highest dew point annually. And you have to pick those 10 states out.
Okay. So let's start.
Highest dew points.
Highest dew points. All right. So let's start with Florida.
Okay. There's one.
Louisiana.
There's number 2.
Are they 1, 2?
Yeah.
Okay. Mississippi.
Mississippi is there, but they're number 4.
Alabama.
Alabama is there. It's number 5.
Okay. Now, all right, let me just keep going along these lines. Georgia.
Georgia is there too. It is number 7. And Joe is going to find out if it does indeed qualify as a top 10 dew point state this summer, I'm sure.
Yes. And I'll find out if the mountains protect me a little bit here. South
Well,
Carolina.
that's true too. South Carolina is there. You're on a roll, Mr. Chiaffi. Number 8 on the list.
5, 6. I got 6 of them so far. All right, so now this is where it starts to get a little harder. So let's go to South Carolina. So let's throw in North Carolina.
North Carolina is there, but it's at the bottom of the list. It is number 10.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I've got 7. Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina. All right, let's go west at this point, and let's say Tennessee.
Tennessee? Did you say Tennessee?
I guess Tennessee is not on there.
Steer one.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
But you got 3 more strikes now.
Yes, I know.
You got the bonus question.
Okay. So that was actually a foul ball, or a pass ball. So now the next one is actually strike 1. All right. Okay. See, now this is where it's a little thing with Texas because it's so big and the West is so dry and the East isn't. So I'm going to hold off on that one and go with Arkansas.
Arkansas, you said. Well, you got number 8, South Carolina. You got number 10, North Carolina. And in between those 2 Carolinas is Arkansas for number 9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 2 left.
That's right.
Florida, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, South Carolina, North Carolina, Arkansas. Now, I'm a little surprised that Tennessee isn't in it, but
hey, I didn't do these.
No, I know. I'm just a little bit surprised because now I'm kind of in an odd place as far as where do I go next. Did I call? You said North Carolina was number 10.
Yes.
And Arkansas was number 9 or number 7?
Correct. No, number 9.
Number 9. Then South Carolina.
And South Carolina was right.
All right. So if Arkansas was 9, I don't want to go to Missouri because I don't think Missouri is going to be higher than that. All right. So what number was Georgia?
7.
All right. So I have 7, 8, 9, and 10, correct?
You have 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yes.
And
correct.
Alabama was what?
Number 5.
Number 5. Mississippi was.
You need to get number 6. Mississippi was 4. You need to get number 3 and number 6.
3 and 6. 3 and 6.
Right.
Oh, Hawaii.
Hawaii is number 3 on the list.
Okay, so I always have to remember that it's the 50 states, which leaves me now with number 6. Okay, so the question is, how weighted is the eastern part of the state of Texas versus the west? So I'm going to say Texas.
And Joe, you win the grand prize. Texas was number 6.
So I get to go to
Johnny. What is?
So do I get to go to
Johnny? What does he win tonight?
Do I get to go to Dicker and Dicker of Beverly Hills?
Yes, Johnny Olson says yes. You are going to Dicker and Dicker.
All right. Well, that was pretty interesting. I'm just a little surprised that I guess Tennessee must be like number 11.
Well, he didn't give me the top 11 states. He only gave me the top 10.
No, I know. I'm just speaking out loud.
And And I'll bet you that Missouri was probably among the top 15, because that could be a pretty sticky state too.
Yeah. Keith James says, how does the humidity alter or impact the dew point? Well, I'm gonna rearrange your question there, Keith. It's actually the dew point is used to calculate the relative humidity. So the lower the dew point is, when the further away the dew point is from the temperature, the drier the air. The dew point is the temperature that you would have to cool the atmosphere down to in order to achieve saturation or 100% humidity. So the wider the spread, the drier the air. Okay. So if you calculate the relative humidity by using the temperature and the dew point temperature. So
the key word there is relative.
Yes.
Relative humidity to the temperature. Yes.
Okay.
Maybe one night we'll bring out a sling psychrometer, and we could see how wet your bulb is, Joe.
Very attractive. You better call an ambulance. Directory assistance will give you that number. All right. Yes. You know what? This was a weird show tonight because we had that horrific start, but we had a good finish. And now it's time, I think, for a couple of days of rest. It's just, there's not much weather really going on tomorrow or Saturday of consequence. So we will be back on Sunday at 11 a.m. Yes. Eastern time for the Sunday morning Joe and Joe weather show. And
the Mother's Day edition.
Yes. And the Joe and Joe weather show brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. All the mulch you need because they make it there, folks, and they serve the entire tri-state area of New York City. So bring your dump truck or your truck and load up on mulch. They got the best prices in town. OmniTrueValue.com. Wholesale holiday lighting by Giannini. When the time comes, your complete holiday lighting specialist to meet all your decorating needs, or you might want to do this as a business. Give them a call. They're at 162 Ocean Avenue in Lindenhurst, also on Long Island, 631-957-5106, liholidaylighting.com. And remember, folks, very important to continue to support your local businesses. So we will see everybody on Sunday.
We will. We'll be here. It's, again, the Mother's Day edition of Joe and Joe. So we want all of you out there to have a good couple of days, and hopefully we'll all be able to gather together on Mom's Day on Sunday.
All right. Nighty-night, everybody, and thank you for the 49 likes. We almost got to 50, but we got to 49. So we'll see you on Sunday. Good night, everybody.
Nighty-night.